What would 12-year-old you never believe about adult you? That all of the things I said I'd always remember and never do as an adult, I've largely forgotten and probably do as an adult. We never got that growth spurt we were promised. That I still laugh at the exact same things. That sometimes, when I'm not paying attention, my mom's words slipped right out of my mouth. That I have a kid taller than me. I'm not tall or anything, just never pictured being shorter than my 13-year-old. For almost 9 years, I've worked literally 1 minute away from a huge water park and I've never gone there. That I too don't know what the fuck I'm doing with my life. I live in a whole ass other country and speak another language now. That definitely would have come as a surprise. That I'm almost 40 and still don't have a stable full of horses. That I haven't gotten married. That's something I just assumed would happen, and yet here we are and I'm still single. I think he'd also be surprised at how rough my teenage years were. We never achieved that swan status. Still an ugly duckling. That I'm in bed usually by 8:45 every night. To sleep flushed. She has friends. Good, supportive, long-term friends. That I actually like bees now and want to pursue beekeeping someday. I used to hate all bugs no matter what. But with more research, I realized that bees aren't so bad. Still hate other bugs though. That the brother I hated would become my best friend. Edit. Damn. Left this comment before bed. Came back to this. Thank you all for the awards. Lol, this never happens to me on here. Warms my lil heart to see so many people with a lot of love for their brothers. I actually like exercise and physical activity, it's just P class that sucked. That he would become a scientist after all. Being a dirt floor poor country kid seemed unsurmountable at the time. I'd still sit down for an all-night session of Dungeons and Dragons. That I'm overweight and I became a suit. That I own an ice cream shop. Exploding head. Edit. Holy cow. I posted my response. Went to bed. And woke up to this blowing up. I will also add that because of my ice cream shop I was a contestant on Chopped. 12-year-old me would be even more shocked by that. Open mouth smile. That I've heard a pilot scream Mayday Mayday before ejecting. I'm an air traffic controller. I made it to 21. That I'm on my way to becoming a doctor. 12-year-old me would scream why. Rant about how doctors are the scariest beings ever and how the hospital drives you nuts. 12-year-old me really wanted to be a pilot. Hey, you know that girl over there you think is really weird? You're going to marry her. That I do math for a living. Fucking math. He'd have been so upset. And #X200B. Edit. Wow. Did not expect so many replies to this of all posts. Must be a lot of accidental mathematicians out there. I should have been more specific. I'm a financial analyst. So I play with numbers and spreadsheets and that kind of stuff all day. So not even the cool kind of math that helps us get into space or anything. More like, yeah, last year we spent 45% more on LaCroix for the office than in the previous year. So, maybe less LaCroix this year? Quote. And #X200B. Edit 2. For more clarity. All I ever wanted to be was a musician. Even went to school for music. Still play pretty much every day. Just never made a living from it. So I went from rock and roll to profit and loss. As it were. My penis never grew. That I would be a firefighter, yeah dude, you get to ride in the truck. That my father would die young. Both of his parents lived well into their 90s. He was athletic, non-smoker, not a risk-taker. He also turned out to be the only one in his family to get cancer. A particularly deadly type. That I'm marrying the girl I had a crush on then. That I learned how to prioritize myself. And I'm not responsible for upholding anybody else's well-being or happiness anymore. And #X200B. Thanks for my first awards. Friends. Also, somebody down the chain asked me to elaborate. So here you go, if you're curious. Trigger warning. Hella childhood abuse. So it was actually due to the responsibilities I had my whole life. 1. Firstborn to a single mother who was tormented and hindered by her own mental illness. 2. Little brother born with autism. I took care of the majority of his needs from a very young age. One of my earliest memories is taking care of my younger siblings alone for an indeterminate period of time when I was 4 and they were 2. We were left alone a lot. 3. Because of my mom's struggles, she didn't work. So the constant threat of freezing to death, dehydrating to death, starving to death was a fear she instilled in me when I was 6. 4. This is also around the time I was being molested. I didn't understand what was happening, but I could tell he was lonely and I wanted to help him. Pathetic. I know. It was made very clear that I was not to tell anybody about all of this. 5. I started working my first job cash under the table at age 12. Throughout the rest of my teens I was working upwards of 3 jobs at a time. The jobs I worked were largely shitty and I was absolutely taken advantage of financially. I'd get paid sometimes as low as $2 - 3 per hour, but I was so desperate I took the jobs anyways. 6. Not for nothing, but I also had to maintain perfect grades to keep up appearances. Thank God these perfect grades and spotless records secured me a full ride. Need-based financial aid FTW. To my dream school. TL. Doctor. Mom was crazy abusive. Other people in my life were crazy abusive. Little brother needed me. I had to parent myself, my mother, and my younger siblings, all while acting school and financially supporting us. The payoff was great when I finally got the fuck away from him at 18. And got into therapy at 19. Shit got really dark before they got better. Now I'm happy, healthy and safe. Also, shockingly, nobody died when I wasn't there to hold everyone together. Go figure.